All right, I'm back with Gene from Perdition Temple, Demonized, and all his projects, including Angel Corpse. And we're going to get into the next question, which was the one telling us to give some tips. It's actually ask you to give some tips or advice for instruments you played and what a musician could do to better themselves.
Um, I guess I guess in the case of whatever instrument somebody's going to pick up, um, you know, you have to let that choice really come naturally. I mean, being a guitarist came naturally to me. That was the instrument. I mean, that was the sound of the music that I was listening to, the instrument that grabbed me the most out of any of it. Because I mean, you hear the drums, you hear the vocals, the bass guitar, etc. But the guitar is what grabbed me the most. So it was natural for me to eventually acquire uh, an electric guitar and learn how to play it. But the best thing to do is, aside from learning the basic rules of your instrument or etc., is letting your ear guide you to exactly what you want to be influenced by. Don't listen to what the corporate labels and the media channels and such want to tell you is, oh, this is the best stuff, and albums, the best album of the week kind of shit. Um, just like listen to things, and whatever your ear grabs onto that you think is great, accept it as great, and never mind what any of your friends or whatever tell you is the best, or that this sucks or whatever. If it works for you, then it's exactly what it's supposed to be. And then that way, whatever unique character that you're ever going to have for what you do yourself is is going to develop. If you just try to do the opposite and follow along with what everybody tells you that you should do, or learn it this way, or this is the best way to do it, etc., you're just gonna turn into a cookie cutter carbon copy player like everybody else. You'll basically become, one of thousands instead of one in thousands. So that's the best advice that I could give for somebody who's first going to try to, get their finger into this.
Funny thing you mentioned that, Gene, because I'm actually a vocalist myself on top of being a DJ. I actually had a show I did in 666 tonight. I did Japanese style, grindcore, definitely like deicide incantation, you guys, benediction, the old school stuff, and I threw in some stuff like Danny Phillips. The moon she hangs like a cruel portrait. Did that sound a lot like Danny to you from Cradle?
I'm not really familiar with the Cradle of Filth stuff.
Okay, I just was showing you a sample of my vocals. That's all, buddy.
Oh,
Because I learned Danny's highs and lows. I learned some of the old school death metal, trying to combine three or four different styles of thing into one genre called technical brutal death metal that I'm into, and use my vocal styles in that genre.
yeah. I mean, basically, whatever grabs you,
Hmm.
let it become part of what your development is.
I understand you.
Don't pay any mind to what anybody's opinion is of what your choice of influence has become.
Okay.
Because when I was a teenager, first getting into this stuff, I came from a small Midwestern city in the state of Minnesota. There was no one around that was into metal. I mean, at best, people who were into glam rock shit like Motley Crue or Poison or some other shit like that. While I was like trying to like figure out how to play Metallica and Slayer and Megadeth riffs, so I didn't really have any peers. And over all the years and decades that I've been into this, I think I've gained a lot from trying to remain peerless, and not try to become part of the cool kids club, and be hip to do it this way, or this is what sells, or any of that. It's just I've completely alienated myself from any of that as much as possible, just so that whatever unique quality that I can maintain that I do.
I get you there, Gene. And what's your opinion on this artificial intelligence that's trying to take over the artwork?
Oh, I'm sorry, say again.
The artificial intelligence that's being used to design artwork nowadays. What's your opinion on that, buddy?
I've even made a few posts about this. It's trash, both for visual art and for audio music, because just taking a memo mic and speaking into that, or typing in a prompt and having it create some half-assed looking picture, and they all are half-assed looking pictures, from the really cheap ones to the expensive ones you see advertisements for. They all look the same. There's no uniqueness to them. But they're all grabbing from the same data pool that they all share. So somewhere at some point, somebody's going to type in the same phrase or whatever for something they want to get, and they're going to create an identical album cover to what somebody else is going to do, and they won't even know about each other. I mean, look what happened with that. What the hell was it? Um, there was some recent ones. There was like a Kerry King solo album that came out, and the cover of that was some AI generated art, and to call it art, um, some AI generated piece, and it looked almost identical to some other artwork that had come out around that time from a recent Deicide album, where it was just some sort of a demon face going looking at you or whatever, But that kind of image doesn't just stop there. You see fucking bands going out on tour now, and you look at the T-shirts that some of these bands are selling. It's all that garbage. They're not hiring artists to come up with art pieces for the T-shirts. They just got shit T-shirts with like demon faces on them, and then their band's logo. I mean, I'll go to shows and I don't even want to buy it. I don't even want to buy any of the merch. It's just ugly looking, because there's no blood in it. There's no work. Nobody got their hands dirty making these pieces. That's why everything that I either have on a T-shirt for any of my bands or album covers, it's either going to be hand drawn or painted. And here's the kick: you can get great painted work or hand drawn, black and white, etc., whatever. You can get great work from people, in the range of somewhere like 500 to even, maybe on the more expensive side, maybe upwards of $1,000 US. And you hear about some of these bands spending 2,000, 3,000 or more, and they're getting these garbage AI generated arts. They're getting ripped off, so bad on them for that. Maybe they'll learn their lesson.
I agree. The original hand-drawn artworks are the best to deal with. Funny thing is, and once I get paid my money, which should be on coming in sometime in the next week, I figure I'm going out to get a very rare shirt. I love it, and it's the explicit artwork for it. The Butcher That Birth Cannibal Corpse T-shirt in extra large size.
Cool.
Yeah, I found a copy of here while planning my town for $54 after taxes.
Yeah, it's nice to stumble on collectibles.
Yeah, rarities are the best, man. I love rarities. That's why I picked the Wolfheart song because I consider it to be a B-side rarity for your band Angel Corpse.
Yeah, that was from '97 that we did that. And I think, well, keep in mind that was still at that time, '97. It was limited, but I think we made about 1,000 copies of that, which by today's standards would be like almost suicidal to print that many of a 7 inch, because people buy the stuff, but I mean, most times you see 7 inches come out now, they make two, three, maybe 500 copies maximum of a 7 inch, and some labels don't even want to do 7-inch vinyls anymore because nobody wants to carry them. Nobody distributes them, and there's just so few people buying that anymore. But back at the time, we made 1,000. I think maybe yeah, I think it was like a thousand copies of that 7-inch. Long sold out decades ago, so nobody bothered me about getting any because I only have one copy of my own still.
Okay, that's cool, man. If you happen to come across another copy that a friend has that doesn't want it, I would love to get a copy of that 7-inch because I'm a collector of vinyls. I got 7 vinyls over here. One that's a band called Mutilated from France.
I think I've heard that stuff. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. I checked the vinyl out and it's such an amazing record. And I got a crematorium and a rare red vinyl. I love to collect music. Thing is, I don't have enough room for all my music right now over the place I'm currently living, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I got my wall of records too, so it's all this. It's same for all of us. I mean, especially as we get older, we end up with half the house covered in CDs and vinyls.
It's true though. Like
52, 52 going on 53, or am I really going on 50, or am I really going on 16? Probably.
I'm 50 myself, buddy, so I've been around a while in the scene myself. I started with Iron Maiden somewhere in time back at age 12 with the tape of that one. I played the second side so bad I wore the sound right off the tape.
Sure.
And we're going to get into the next project of yours now. I think it's one you were working on. I don't know if there's anything coming out still with it. What made you decide to form the project Demonized, and how is the work coming along with this project?
Well, the demonized relationship that goes back to about around the year 2000, well, somewhere between 2000 2002. Because after Angel Corps originally broke up the first time back in 2000, shortly thereafter that decided to try, and instead of trying to starting a new band at that time, I decided, okay, I'm going to try to start a record label, and that was called Evil Vengeance Records. And my first release was Abhorrence, Evoking the Abomination out of Brazil. And then after that, I did another Brazilian band called Ophiolatry, their album Anti-Evangelistic Process. And then there was a Texas band, Reign of Terror, that I did called album was called Trinity of the Impaled. And then what would have been my next release was going to be the Demonized full length, self-titled full length from Demonized. But which that would have been in about around 2002. And at that point, uh, I mean, the label was really not working out. Uh, I didn't have the means to be able to get the kind of promotion for my releases that I needed to have. I didn't have all the internal networking with the other labels enough so to make enough availability for my titles. So a lot of it was just hand to hand sales of my own that I could and whatnot. So by the time 2002 rolled around, it was getting to where I was going to either have to go entirely bankrupt or just stop the label altogether and stop feeding money into it and losing my ass from it. But what had happened is one of the last actions that I'd done with the label is I gave a budget to Antimo from Demonized to do their debut album. So they'd recorded it, they'd finished it, and they'd already sent me the final master version of the album and all that. But I knew that if I spent the money to release it, that it would have, it would have had me living on the streets basically. So I couldn't do it. But what was I going to do with it? Was I just going to shelve it? No. So I approached Osmos Productions in France, who I had the obvious relationship with the Angel Corps band. Um, and I hit them up. I'm like, hey, if I could, sell you this album, which I sold it to the label for the amount of money that it cost me to pay the band to record it, so I could at least make that money back. They agreed, and that album did come out. The first Demonized album, it came out, I believe, in early 2003, if I'm correct, on the Osmos Productions out of France. So that was my relationship to Demonized back at that time. Then jump forward a few decades. Um, a couple years ago now, Antimo messages me and he's telling me that he was looking to put Demonized back together. And I think he originally asked if I would just maybe do some solos on it or something. And I got really excited about the idea because I love that the original demo material that they'd had, um, and that first album that they recorded as well. To this day are still some really really favorite things. And when he came up with the idea of starting it up again, I was like, well, hey, how about I just come in as the second guitarist, even though it'll become an international kind of project. I wanted to get a a more deeper involvement in it to actually be as a active member of the Demonized project, which that came together with the 2000. I think that came out in 2022 also. The Demonized Abyss Vanguard mini CD with the four songs that are on that. And moving forward, now that these newest Perdition Temple and Malefic Throne albums are done, uh, going into 2026, aside from the Hexorcist band released, that'll be coming out probably January or February, the full length, where I just do vocals on that. But the Demonized, that'll be the project where I'll probably try to contribute at least a few songs of my own too. And then Antimo, I believe Antimo and the other members are putting together the rest of that. So that full length should be underway to be worked on during next year, for a big part of next year. So that's the immediate writing and recording projects that'll be starting up more heavily going into the 2026 year.
Right on. That's a funny thing. You just answered half my next question about Demonize having new material or Perdition Temple is the other one I was going to ask about.
Well, Perdition Temple, we just had the new album come out. Um, I've got the early sketchings of parts for what'll eventually develop into new material for the subsequent Perdition Temple releases that likely, probably, realistically would probably show up sometime in 2027 for any kind of a release. And yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff is underway for that, but it's still really in the skeletal stages at this point, while I build that one.
What are Perdition Temple's immediate music career goals?
Oh, I'm sorry, say again.
What are Perdition Temple's immediate music career goals? As in the immediate goals you have musically for Perdition Temple.
Well, musically, well, I mean, man, the new album's out, so that part of the goal is already complete. Um, so the next thing that we're looking at is live activity in support of the new album. Right now, moving into the new year, we've got a couple of shows that will be happening on the West Coast in the United States. We just did a couple of weeks ago. We did three shows in Texas. Um, so yeah, we're looking at a few West Coast shows uh, in March of this coming year, 2026, and then also possibly maybe about 4 or 5 dates in Chile that we're looking at. Uh, that might be around maybe May. Uh, a lot to be confirmed on that yet. And then also we're looking to return to Europe again for maybe about 2 weeks, similar to what we did in 2024. So yeah, we have some plans at least for the Perdition Temple band, those are some of the plans. Yes.
Okay. Hopefully, with Perdition Temple, you guys eventually come to Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada for a show.
Nothing planned yet, but time will tell.
Okay, because if you do, I will try my hardest to make it out to that show so I can meet you and the guys in person.
Great.
What social media outlets can Perdition Temple or Demonized be found on? Like Facebook,
Oh,
Instagram, that kind of thing.
uh, yeah. For Perdition Temple, we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. Same thing for Malefic Throne. There's a Facebook and a Instagram page. Which I mean, to me, for the social media, those are probably the only two that are really viable. Things like X as a social media, there's really no, I mean, at least to what I've seen, there's really no music activity there. So yeah, if anybody wants to look up the bands on social medias, that would be the place to go, is either Facebook or Instagram. And then of course I have my own personal Instagram and Facebook pages, which it's just more of the same, uh, that I mostly use to just uh, show what I'm doing.
At least there was two more questions for the interview, and then I need a couple of station IDs from you, Gene. The
Sure.
second last question on the interview is, what advice do you have for people who want to form their own bands?
Find the people that in a way can complete your sentences. What do I mean by that? That you need to find people that when you have an idea or they have an idea, and that when they say what it is, that you immediately understand what they're talking about. Or that if you have an idea, they don't look at you with that blank, glazed look on their face saying, what does that mean? I mean, let me put it this way. In the context of death metal, thrash metal, whatever, if I say seven, they better say churches. If I say hell, they better say awaits. Or if I say altars, they better say of madness. You see what I mean? And the
Yeah.
same thing coming from them. If I say something, hey, I want a part that's like this, or something that's got a little bit of a of a hook to it, like some classic song. I don't want to have to explain every little pick stroke and every little note of what it is that I'm doing to have that idea make sense to someone. I don't want the people that I'm going to work with in a band to have to go research what I'm talking about when I'm trying to convey an idea to them. Things should be instantaneous, that everybody is on the same page at all times, and that you can work and you can get things done productively instantly. If everybody's got to figure out what they're doing, what their position really is, don't bother. Just quit and try to get new people until you get people that actually get what you're doing and that you can get on the same page with them. That it took me some time to learn that. I figured, in the past that, oh, everybody's, got their differences and we can all try to work together. No, we can't all work together, because some people are just on a different planet and they're never going to join you on yours to make a project work. So you need to get people involved that are all going to agree to get together in the same place and in the same creative universe to make things work. Otherwise, you're going to be fumbling and everybody's going to get pissed off at some point and everybody will quit, or you're going to have a constant churn of band members coming in and out.
I guess you there, Gene. I had my band together with one lineup that was decent. One of the guys understood me, the drummer. The other girl was a good guitar player, but she couldn't see on the same page as me. She's still a great friend of mine. We don't talk anymore because she went born again Christian. I'm still into the same views and beliefs I have. But the thing is, me and her are still good friends, even though we don't see eye to eye on things.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to make enemies out of it. It's just try to find people that if you identify that they don't get what you're doing, it might not be the best idea to work with them in a creative unit. You can still be the best of friends. You can still talk about your favorite records, do whatever, whatever kind of external relationships that you might have with people. But if it's going to be in something that's going to be a band, where there's going to be albums, there's going to be money spent, budgets made, travel arrangements made, all that shit. You need to make sure that you have people that are there with you, that want to be there, that this is where I live now, is the mentality of everybody that's in the project. If you have people that are just there because they want to, they have this perception of, oh, I want to get famous, I want to be fame, or I want to play in a band with these people, or they'll tell you that I'm your number one fan. To me, that's a fucking red flag. Sure, it's flattering, but some people will use that just to linger on. They'll think that by flattering you and telling you how much they're into something, that you'll give them a pass and that you'll just drag them along and try to make it work with them. They won't remember how to play their guitar parts. They won't even know how to tune their fucking instrument. But yet they'll sit there and they'll tell you how big of a fan they are of the music. I've had people audition, like say for Perdition Temple, and a month, 2 months out from when I want to have them come over and do an audition, I'll give them the tablature and all that other shit and say, here, learn these songs and then come over in a month and then we'll see how it goes. And then when they finally come over, they can't play one fucking riff. So I don't waste my time on that. If people want to get involved with a project with me or they want to get involved with any project, act like you're doing an audition for the favorite fucking band that you have. Would you want to go into an audition with your favorite band in the whole world and not know how to play one fucking song of that band? And what would you expect is going to happen when you do that? Well, what exactly happened? I just said, yeah, let me get back to you. And that's the last few of these people ever heard from me. So learn not to waste your time.
And that leaves us with the last question of the interview. What new band news do you have on your career front that we might have missed in this career history interview? As in anything new going on for any of the projects you currently have going?
Well, uh, the obvious newest one that just had the debut full length come out is the Malefic Throne band, which that's the one with Steve Tucker, vocalist bassist from Morbid Angel, and John Longstreth on the drums, who was previously with me in the first two Angel Corpse albums, and he's also been on the band with the band Origin, and in the last several years, he's also been the at least the live drummer for Hate Eternal. It's been a minute since they've done anything, but he is a part of that also. So we just put out our debut full length, The Conquering Darkness, that's called, and that came out on Agonia Records. And we're promoting that album now too, and we're looking into what form of live activity we're going to be able to do that starting in 2026.
Right on, man. And just so you know, I've seen John Longstreth and the dudes from Origin 4 times live here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So if you
Cool.
get a chance to talk to John, tell him Metal Craig says hello.
Sure.
And that gets us to the station IDs now, really quick. The first one is, hey, this is Gene of Perdition Temple, and you are listening to Mangled Music Radio.
This is Gene Polyubicki, and you are listening to Mangled Music Radio.
And then the second station ID is for Craig's Metal Storm, same as the first one.
This is Gene Polyubicki of Perdition Temple, and you are listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
Cool. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you very much for the interview, Gene. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, buddy. I appreciate
All
this.
right. Thanks
Have
for
a
the
good one,
interview, man. Have
buddy.
a good day.